the highly anticipated live-action adaptation of One Piece finally releases. The original manga author, Oda, personally selects the cast. Will the foreign version of Monkey D. Luffy live up to expectations? Can a manga successfully be adapted into a live-action production? 22 years ago in the town of Lobetown, the Marines finally capture the Pirate King, Goldie Roger. They prepare to execute him. Unexpectedly, before his death, the Pirate King declares that his treasure is hidden in the sea. If you want wealth, freedom, and fame, hurry and set sail for the Great Sea. Goldie Roger's declaration sparks a competition on the sea. Everyone wants to find the Pirate King's treasure. The whole world enters a turbulent and chaotic Great Pirate Era. In this era, being a pirate is the most glorious profession. Monkey D. Luffy, who grew up in the Fusha village in the East Blue, is no exception.
Find the One Piece and become King of the Pirates!
When he was just a child, he greatly admired Captain Shanks of the Roger Pirates. However, Shanks always treated him like a child. He even frightened Monkey D. Luffy with the scar on his face. To prove his determination to become a pirate, he scratched his own face. Now, he has grown into a strong young teenager. He embarks on his first voyage. Unexpectedly, something sudden happens. The small boat starts taking in water. Monkey D. Luffy hides inside a barrel. He drifts to a distant sea area. Meanwhile, the female pirate Alvida is plundering. She leads her crew to seize a cargo ship. Unexpectedly, while moving the cargo, they accidentally retrieve the barrel in which Monkey D. Luffy is hiding. Later that evening, Coby, a crew member on watch duty, notices movement from the barrel. He approaches to investigate. Suddenly, a living person emerges from the barrel. Coby screams in fright. Monkey D. Luffy covers his mouth and explains that he is also a pirate. He intends to journey to the Grand Line in search of treasure. Upon hearing this, Coby greatly admires Monkey D. Luffy. The Grand Line is notorious as a graveyard for pirates. Once you enter, it's difficult to come out alive. However, Coby is willing to assist Monkey D. Luffy. Coby leads him to the stern of the ship to find a lifeboat. If Luffy keep heading north, he will reach land.
North? Which way is north?
Alvida arrives on the deck carrying a large iron rod. She intends to punish the traitor Coby. Yet, Monkey D. Luffy intercepts her with an oar. A fierce battle ensues. Alvida swings her iron rod. Monkey D. Luffy's body, like rubber, avoids the damage. Alvida becomes furious at Coby. This angers Monkey D. Luffy. He steals one of Alvida's boats. He plans to leave with Coby. The two of them row the boat and head north. Meanwhile, on the island of Sisix, the swordsman Roronoa Zoro, who can wield 3 swords, is meditating at a shrine. Unexpectedly, he is interrupted by Mr. Seven from the Baroque Works organization. The other party wants to invite him to join their organization. Roronoa Zoro dismissively gives Mr. Seven the middle finger. He immediately rejects the offer to join. Failing to strike a deal, Mr. Seven draws his sword. However, Roronoa Zoro is a first-rate swordsman. Within a few moves, he defeats Mr. Seven effortlessly. Coby is curious about how Monkey D. Luffy can stretch his body. The reason behind it is also related to Shanks. In the past, bandits caused trouble at a bar in Fusha village. Shanks faced the insults without retaliating. Monkey D. Luffy couldn't understand why he endured it. As a result, he ate random things in frustration. As a consequence, he accidentally consumed a devil fruit and became a rubber person. Later, those bandits came back looking for trouble. Monkey D. Luffy wanted to drive them away and stand up for Shanks. He ended up getting captured by the bandits. Shanks led his pirates into battle against the bandits. Unexpectedly, the leader of the bandits took advantage of the chaos and kidnapped Monkey D. Luffy. They escaped to the sea with him on a boat. Fortunately, Shanks noticed in time. He caught up to the bandits and rescued Monkey D. Luffy. However, they were surrounded by sea creatures. The situation was extremely dangerous. Shanks lost his left arm in order to save him. Monkey D. Luffy cried in remorse. When Shanks was about to leave Fusha village, Monkey D. Luffy decided not to go out to sea with him. He wanted to become a pirate on his own. Monkey D. Luffy made a vow to Shanks. I will gather companions stronger than all of you, and then find the greatest treasure and become the Pirate King. Upon hearing this, Shanks handed his straw hat to Monkey D. Luffy, and made a promise with him. When you become an outstanding pirate, return the straw hat to me. During their short journey, Coby realized that Monkey D. Luffy had no knowledge of sailing. He started regretting leaving Alvida. Monkey D. Luffy comforted Coby. You don't have to follow others. You can do what you enjoy. Coby expressed his desire to become a marine. Monkey D. Luffy didn't mock Coby's dream. He even set their destination as a marine base. This way, Coby could join the Marines. He could also find a nautical chart at the base. The two quickly arrived at Marine Branch 153. Monkey D. Luffy took Coby to fill their stomachs. They also discussed how to enter the base. Before they could come up with a plan, suddenly, Roronoa Zoro walked into the tavern dragging a sack, and our heroine, Nami, was sitting alone in a corner of the tavern, drinking. At that moment, a long-haired marine named Helmeppo got into a conflict with a tavern employee. He even stepped on a girl's rice ball meant for Roronoa Zoro, crushing it. His despicable attitude attracted everyone's attention. Roronoa Zoro picked up the rice ball and stuffed it into his mouth. He praised the little girl for making it delicious. Then he demanded Helmeppo to quickly apologize. Helmeppo burst into laughter upon hearing that. He even drew his sword, ready to teach Roronoa Zoro a lesson. The outcome can be imagined. Helmeppo was knocked down by Roronoa Zoro. The surrounding marines tried to intervene, but they were all defeated by Roronoa Zoro. Helmeppo quickly begged for mercy. He claimed his father was Colonel Morgan, the commander of the entire marine base. He offered to give whatever Roronoa Zoro wanted through his father. Roronoa Zoro took the sack and went to demand a bounty from the marines. Morgan stated that money was not an issue, but anyone who attacked the marines would be publicly displayed in the courtyard for 7 days. Roronoa Zoro didn't consider it as punishment. He saw it as an opportunity to catch up on some sleep. Meanwhile, Monkey D. Luffy was still thinking about the tavern incident. He thought that green-haired person was really impressive. He also wanted to enter the base and get nautical charts. Soon, the next morning arrived. Roronoa Zoro was hung in the courtyard under the scorching sun. The underground manhole cover ahead was lifted by someone. Monkey D. Luffy emerged from it. It turns out his plan for infiltration was to enter through the underground pipeline. Monkey D. Luffy greatly admires Roronoa Zoro, so he untied the rope for him. Monkey D. Luffy went back into the manhole and asked Roronoa Zoro to help cover it back up. He followed the underground pipeline and found the archive room. Coincidentally, Nami was also there. She also wanted to find nautical charts. The two had met in the tavern, so they knew that neither of them was a marine. After Monkey D. Luffy learned that Nami hadn't found the nautical charts, he planned to search Morgan's office. Nami followed him up as well. To their surprise, they bumped into Morgan right at the door. Nami had a clever idea. Since she was still wearing a marine uniform, why not pretend to be a marine escorting a prisoner? The two not only deceived Morgan, but Nami also managed to snatch his keys. They successfully entered the office. They found the safe containing the hidden maps. Yet, it would take some time to crack the password. Meanwhile, Morgan noticed that his keys were missing. He quickly returned to the office and started chopping at the door. It seemed like he was about to break down the wooden door. Monkey D. Luffy could only rely on brute force to deal with the safe. The marines surrounded and attempted to capture the pirates. Monkey D. Luffy and Nami fought back with all their strength. Roronoa Zoro, who happened to be passing by, also joined in to help. This was also the first time the Straw Hat Pirates' 3 members teamed up. Nevertheless, Morgan was not an ordinary person. Roronoa Zoro drew his third sword. He unleashed his full firepower and charged towards Morgan. With the help of Monkey D. Luffy, they beat Morgan. The 3 of them prepared to leave with the safe. Unexpectedly, Helmeppo chased after them. Before he could finish his threatening words, he was knocked unconscious by Coby. Coby decided to stay behind to pursue his own dreams. Thus, he bid farewell to Monkey D. Luffy. On the other side, Vice Admiral Garp quickly received the news of the stolen maps. He was the person who captured Roger back in the day. Garp decided to pay a visit to Marine Branch 153. The Buggy Pirates also learned about the stolen nautical charts. It seems that Monkey D. Luffy has become the target of everyone. At this moment, Nami finally decoded the password. The complete map unfolded before their eyes. The current sea is divided into 4 territories: East Blue, North Blue, West Blue, and South Blue. In the center lies a narrow, circular landmass. It is known as the Red Line, and the sea route that crosses through is the Grand Line. Suddenly, a burst of red smoke emerged from the sea surface. Nami and Roronoa Zoro fainted one after another. Monkey D. Luffy acted quickly before losing consciousness. He hastily stuffed the map into his mouth. The 3 of them were captured by the Buggy Pirates. They were trapped inside a large wooden box. When the box was opened, they found themselves in a massive circus. Buggy, dressed as a clown, made a dazzling entrance. Everyone in East Blue knows this pirate. Monkey D. Luffy had also heard of Buggy's reputation. It is said that his pirate crew is full of eccentric individuals. Buggy demanded the 3 of them hand over the map. Unexpectedly, Nami stepped forward. She said, "We have something more valuable than the map." With that, she knocked Monkey D. Luffy's straw hat off. Monkey D. Luffy immediately stretched his arm and caught the hat, taking advantage of Buggy looking up. She quickly ran out of the circus. She saw that the entire orange town had turned into ruins. In her astonishment, Nami was dragged back into the circus. It was then she realized that the local residents were all tied up in the audience seats. Buggy ordered for Roronoa, Zoro and Nami to be locked up. Then, he tied up Monkey D. Luffy's limbs separately. The reason he left Monkey D. Luffy alone for interrogation is because Buggy recognized the straw hat. This hat originally belonged to the red-haired pirate, Shanks, and Buggy was once a member of the Roger Pirates. He resents Shanks for stealing his limelight. Monkey D. Luffy cannot tolerate anyone insulting his idol. He broke free from his restraints and punched Buggy. As a result, he knocked off Buggy's head, but the next moment, Buggy's body returned to normal. It turns out he consumed the chop fruit. He can regenerate even if he is cut into pieces. Buggy locked Monkey D. Luffy in a glass box filled with seawater. People who consume devil fruit become unable to swim. Monkey D. Luffy couldn't escape the glass box on his own. On the other side, Buggy's pirate crew's strategist, Kabaji, privately sought revenge against Roronoa Zoro. His brother was killed by Zoro. Zoro has killed numerous pirates. He doesn't even remember Kabaji. Kabaji felt insulted. So, he used Roronoa Zoro as a target while practicing with darts. Unexpectedly, the arrow accidentally cut the hemp rope. Roronoa Zoro broke free and restrained Kabaji. Meanwhile, Nami pried open the lock of the cage. The two of them rushed out to rescue Monkey D. Luffy. Nami smashed the glass with a single blow. Monkey D. Luffy fell to the ground coughing uncontrollably. Inadvertently, he spat out the map. Monkey D. Luffy only wanted to retrieve his straw hat. Buggy took the opportunity to snatch the map. Of course, Roronoa Zoro cannot let him succeed. Buggy separates his own body. Each body part rapidly spins around Roronoa Zoro and Nami. The two of them are unable to harm his vital points. Instead, they are knocked down by Buggy. Monkey D. Luffy becomes very angry. He will never tolerate his friends being harmed. Monkey D. Luffy punches Buggy's chest, shattering it. But in the blink of an eye, the wounds on Buggy's body automatically heal. Buggy's body parts shoot forward like projectiles. Monkey D. Luffy uses his rubber abilities to dodge the attacks. This Buggy is simply indestructible. Monkey D. Luffy looks around and sees many boxes. Immediately, he signals Nami and the others to open them. Then he stretches out his limbs and stuffs Buggy's body parts into the boxes. The three of them coordinate seamlessly. Soon, Buggy is left with only his head and limbs. The rest of his body is locked inside the boxes. Monkey D. Luffy stretches his arms with force. He beat Buggy away with a single blow. The three main characters rescue the trapped residents. They set foot on their journey again. At this moment, Nami secretly enters the cabin, and she sends a signal to an unknown person, indicating the acquisition of the map. Unexpectedly, before got any response, the seashell used for communication gets soaked in seawater. Monkey D. Luffy notices water entering the cabin. He decides to find a decent-sized ship. They need to reach the nearest continent as soon as possible before the ship sinks. Meanwhile, shortly after Monkey D. Luffy's departure, Buggy gets captured by the pirate named Arlong. Arlong is the most wanted pirate in the East Blue. Arlong captured Buggy because Buggy caused trouble in his territory. In order to save his life, Buggy claims that a Straw Hat pirate plundered a marine base and stole the map of the Grand Line. This statement indeed catches Arlong's attention. Nami and the others take shelter in the village of Syrup. Nami mentions that this is a famous shipbuilding town. As expected, Monkey D. Luffy immediately sets his eyes on a large ship. He approaches and examines it carefully. Suddenly, a young lad emerges from the ship. This person is Usopp, the new crew member soon to join Monkey D. Luffy. He is known in the village as the Great Liar. He mentions that the ship is not for sale. If Monkey D. Luffy really wants to buy it, he can help recommend. So, the three of them follow Usopp to meet the ship owner, Kaya. Kaya is the wealthy heiress of Syrup Village. She has been weak and sickly since childhood. Usopp often tells Kaya adventurous stories. Over time, the two of them become close friends. However, Kaya's steward Kuro dislikes Usopp, but for the sake of the young lady's reputation, he invites Monkey D. Luffy and the others to the guest room to change clothes. Today is Kaya's birthday. There will be a grand banquet later. The three of them change clothes and indulge in food and drinks in the hall. Roronoa Zoro has a familiar feeling about the steward, but he can't recall where he has seen him before. At this moment, the steward invites everyone to the dining room for a formal meal. Kaya wants to eat seafood but is denied by Kuro. She can only drink a soothing herbal concoction to satisfy her hunger. Nami is displeased with Kuro's constant control over Kaya. However, as a guest, she can't say much. Monkey D. Luffy doesn't notice what's happening at the dining table. He earnestly asks Kaya to sell him a ship. Upon hearing this, Kaya says that Monkey D. Luffy has come at the perfect time. Once her 18th birthday passes tonight, The entire shipyard will be transferred under her name. Kaya is willing to sell the ship to Monkey D. Luffy. Excitedly, Monkey D. Luffy stands on the table. He passionately describes his vision for the future. This enthusiasm deeply inspires Kaya. Unexpectedly, Kuro suddenly scolds Monkey D. Luffy. He even says that Usopp's friends are unreliable, bringing such low-class people to disturb the young lady. Kaya completely trusts this steward. Therefore, she asks Usopp and the others to leave tomorrow morning. In fact, Kuro is not a good person. He is actually the captain of the Black Cat Pirates. Several years ago, Kuro encountered an accident and was taken in by Kaya's father. He was interested in the shipyard owned by this family. So, he assassinated Kaya's parents. He disguised himself as a steward and stayed by Kaya's side. He secretly drugged her food and drinks. He waited 3 years for the young lady to reach the age of 18. Kuro intends to manipulate Kaya. He wants to transfer the property to his name. Currently, he has killed Mary, the accountant. Meanwhile, the three main characters did not rest peacefully. Monkey D., Luffy and Roronoa Zoro went out to find a late-night snack. Nami, on the other hand, secretly took a pillowcase to steal things. Unexpectedly, she accidentally entered Kaya's bedroom. Fortunately, Kaya didn't get angry. Instead, she pulled Nami to sit down and chat. Surprisingly, the two of them unexpectedly got along well. Meanwhile, Monkey D., Luffy and Roronoa Zoro encountered Usopp. They discovered that he is a skilled marksman. Usopp says that he inherited it from his father, Yasopp. His father is a notorious pirate. He left when Usopp was very young. Usopp also desires to follow in his father's footsteps and become a pirate. However, he worries about Kaya and cannot leave her. As soon as Monkey D. Luffy hears that Usopp's father is Yasopp, he immediately gets excited, because Yasopp is a comrade of Shanks. Usopp takes Roronoa Zoro to the wine cellar. They plan to get some good wine to celebrate, while Monkey D. Luffy is very hungry. So, he doesn't go to the wine cellar. He drinks up the medicinal food in the pot. At this time, Roronoa Zoro and Usopp enter the wine cellar. They discover the body of Mary. There are 5 blood holes on his chest. Roronoa Zoro recognizes this peculiar wound. He finally remembers where he saw the steward before. It was on the pirates' wanted list. At this moment, Kuro also enters the wine cellar. Roronoa Zoro immediately draws his sword and attacks. Unexpectedly, he is ambushed by Kuro's subordinates. He is knocked down to the ground. Usopp quickly makes his escape. Kuro orders his subordinates to dispose of the body. Upon hearing this, his subordinates throw Roronoa Zoro and Mary into a dry well. Usopp runs to the village and shouts that there are pirates. However, since he often exaggerates, no one believes him at all. Just when Usopp is at a loss for what to do, Coby unexpectedly appears. It turns out that he encountered Vice Admiral Garp at Marine Branch 135. Upon hearing that pirates have stolen a nautical chart, he decides to lead the Marine to reclaim the map. And Vice Admiral Garp is not a pushover like Morgan. He recognizes Kobe's excellent sailing abilities, and promotes him to the rank of Lieutenant Commander. He assigns him the task of retrieving the map from the pirates, along with Morgan's son, Helmeppo. Coby has never been given such an important role before. For a moment, he is overwhelmed by Vice Admiral Garp's trust. He follows the Marine and tracks them all the way to Syrup Village. Now that he heard Usopp saying there are pirates, he specifically came to gather information. As a result, he found out that Monkey D. Luffy is in this area. Coby agrees to help drive away the Black Cat Pirates. He asks Usopp to lead the way. Meanwhile, inside Kaya's luxurious mansion, Nami discovers Monkey D. Luffy lying unconscious on the ground, and a pot that fell beside him. She suspects that the medicinal food is the issue. Before Nami can wake up Monkey D. Luffy, the steward and others approach. She quickly hides inside a cupboard, and overhears the conversation among the pirates. Kuro orders his subordinates to throw Monkey D. Luffy into the well, but just as they open the main door, they see Coby and others. However, they don't capture Kuro. Instead, they interrogate about Monkey D. Luffy's whereabouts. Upon hearing this, Kuro immediately hands over Monkey D. Luffy. Usopp senses that something is wrong. He quickly climbs through the window into Kaya's room, and he tells her that Kuro is a pirate. Unexpectedly, Kaya slaps him. She refuses to believe that the steward is a bad person. Usopp doesn't lose heart. Instead, he chooses to stay by Kaya's side, to protect her from Kuro's harm. At that moment, the clock strikes 12. Kaya comes of age. Kuro knows that he can take action now. They barricade all the windows in the mansion. Nami takes the opportunity to sneak out and find Kaya, and she tells Kaya everything she saw and heard just now. Kaya finally believes that the steward is not a good person. She leads Nami into a secret passage. Their footsteps are noticed by Kuro. He extends a sharp knife into the wall. Kaya's arm gets scratched. Nevertheless, the three of them manage to escape to the master bedroom. Kaya finds the escape route her parents set up. However, the mechanism is in disrepair from years of neglect. The strength of the three is not enough to open it. On the other side, Roronoa Zoro wakes up from the deep well. He hasn't been in such a sorry state for a long time. He can't help but recall his training days in Shimosuke village. At the age of 11, he could defeat adults, but he couldn't defeat Guena, the daughter of his teacher. Even after competing against her 2001 times, he never tasted victory. After their final match in the forest, Guena revealed to Roronoa Zoro she was unwilling to accept being a girl. That way, she would never have the physical strength of a man when she grew up. She would never be able to become the world's greatest swordsman. Roronoa Zoro didn't want her to be so discouraged. He proposed coming to practice together every day, until one of them became the #1 swordsman. Little did he know that before this promise could be fulfilled, Guena passed away due to an accident. At Guena's funeral, Roronoa Zoro made a request to his master. He received Guena's sword, Wado Ikimunji, and he made a vow to become even stronger. After obtaining Wado Ikimunji, he began training in the three-sword style. If he can't even climb out of a well now, what's the point of talking about being the #1 swordsman? Roronoa Zoro unwillingly continues to try. Finally, after countless failures, he successfully climbs out of the well. As for the other unlucky guy, Monkey D. Luffy, he vomits the medicine while being escorted. Finally, he regains consciousness. He asks Coby to let him go back to save the others, but the Marines' mission is to capture pirates. Coby is momentarily indecisive. On the side, Helmeppo becomes impatient. She aims her gun directly at Monkey D. Luffy's head. Fortunately, Roronoa Zoro arrives in time. They don't give Coby a hard time. Instead, they hurriedly go back to save Kaya and the others. At this time, Kuro has already broken into the master bedroom. Kaya and the other two hide in the darkness, afraid to make a sound. It's only a matter of time before Kuro finds them. Kaya is not a cowardly person. She exchanges a glance with Nami. She dashes out in a flash. Unfortunately, she gets caught by Kuro. Usopp saves the girl with his slingshot. Kuro releases the two girls. He prepares to deal with Usopp first. At a critical moment, Monkey D. Luffy arrives. Meanwhile, Roronoa Zoro deals with two subordinates in the hall. Kuro's advantage is his extremely fast speed. Unfortunately, he encounters Monkey D. Luffy. No matter how fast you are, you can't defeat the protagonist. Monkey D. Luffy smashes Kuro away with a powerful headbutt. Meanwhile, Roronoa Zoro subdues two subordinates. In order to repay the favor of saving their lives, Kaya gives them the Going Merry ship. Kaya also encourages Usopp to join the Straw Hat Pirates. She will take good care of herself, study, and become a doctor. Usopp leaves the small village with Monkey D. Luffy, but before they can even enjoy it for 2 seconds, the Marines outside launch an attack. Monkey D. Luffy feels the ship shaking. He quickly uses a telescope to observe the sea surface, and he sees his grandfather. So it turns out Garp is Monkey D. Luffy's grandfather. The old man has always wanted his grandson to grow up and become a Marine, but Monkey D. Luffy keeps shouting that he wants to become a pirate. As a result, the grandfather and grandson have always been at odds. Garp grabs an explosive and throws it forcefully at Monkey D. Luffy. Monkey D. Luffy bounces it back using his belly. The explosive smashes the Marine's mast. The protagonist's group shakes off Garp's pursuit. They escape right in front of the Marines. Fortunately, the Going Merry only sustains minor damage. At this moment, fog appears on the sea surface. The route is completely obscured. After seeing his grandfather, Monkey D. Luffy remains silent. Nami asks Roronoa Zoro to console him.
Battle, you want to talk about it?
Nope.
Okay, good talk.
Suddenly, Monkey D. Luffy smells the scent of food. Everyone asks him to sit at the bow and guide the way. After all, where there's food, there are people. Guided by Monkey D. Luffy's nose, the Going Merry successfully leaves the sea fog, and they discover a fish-headed ship. This place is the Baratie, a restaurant at sea. The Straw Hat Pirates are about to unlock a new member, Sanji. Sanji is the apprentice of Zeph, the owner of Baratie. He not only hones his cooking skills at Baratie, but also learns Zeph's formidable footwork. On that day, Sanji is called to the hall to help. Coincidentally, he serves the table where Monkey D. Luffy sits. Sanji is a suave and gallant dandy. He can't help but show his attentiveness to Nami. This prompts everyone to cheer and tease. Monkey D. Luffy and the others enjoy a hearty meal. However, they can't pay for their meal. Zeph despises food wastage the most, and eating without paying. As compensation, he instructs Monkey D. Luffy to work for a year. Nami feels that it's unreliable to stay with this group of people, so she wants to find an opportunity to leave on her own. On the other hand, Garp hasn't given up on capturing his grandson. He contacts the world's greatest swordsman, Dracule Mihawk. He asks him to capture Monkey D. Luffy and bring him to their base. At this point, you might be wondering, why would the greatest swordsman listen to Garp? It involves the warlords of the sea. They are the government-recognized major pirates. They have a cooperative relationship with the Marine. They mutually benefit from the world government. Dracule Mihawk is one of the 7 warlords of the sea. That's why he helps Garp. Monkey D. Luffy is unaware that he's being targeted. He is currently washing dishes. He strikes up a conversation with Sanji. Through their conversation, it becomes clear that Sanji wants to find the legendary All Blue, where rare ingredients and spices are said to exist. Upon hearing this, Monkey D. Luffy quickly offers him to join their pirate crew. You can join our pirate crew. Sanji doesn't take Monkey D. Luffy's words seriously. At this moment, Dracule Mihawk has already arrived at the restaurant. Roronoa Zoro immediately recognizes him as the greatest swordsman. Therefore, he challenges him to a duel. They agree to fight the following morning. Nami is getting exasperated with Roronoa Zoro. Dracule Mihawk is not an ordinary swordsman. How can you suggest a one-on-one fight? She urges Monkey D. Luffy to stop Roronoa Zoro. Yet Monkey D. Luffy's creed is not to obstruct anyone's dreams. If Roronoa Zoro wants to defeat Dracule Mihawk and become the greatest swordsman, then there is no reason to hinder him. Nami is afraid of getting into big trouble. She decides to escape with the map tomorrow morning. Meanwhile, Roronoa Zoro and the others go to meet Dracule Mihawk. The greatest swordsman doesn't even consider them a threat, so he draws a small knife from his necklace. Roronoa Zoro feels disrespected. He immediately charges with his two swords. As expected, he is no match for Dracule Mihawk. Nevertheless, Dracule Mihawk admires Roronoa Zoro's fearless courage. He unsheathes his sword as a sign of respect. Roronoa Zoro also draws his sword, Wado Ikimunji. At this point, Nami becomes worried about them. She decides to turn back halfway. The blades of the two clash. Dracule Mihawk cuts through Roronoa Zoro's two blades. There is no doubt that Roronoa Zoro has lost the duel. He bares his chest, prepared to die. Dracule Mihawk swings his sword. However, he doesn't kill Roronoa Zoro. Instead, he encourages him to become stronger, to come and challenge him again in the future. Dracule Mihawk certainly has a strong personality. He hears that Monkey D. Luffy is planning to go to the Grand Line. Surprisingly, he decides to turn back. He wants to see what kind of accomplishments these people can achieve. Roronoa Zoro, in his role as first mate, swears to Monkey D. Luffy he will never lose again in his lifetime. After saying that, he faints. Monkey D. Luffy rushed to seek help from Zeph. Zeph stitched up Roronoa Zoro's wound and applied bonito skin to the cut. He successfully stopped the bleeding and saved Roronoa Zoro. Monkey D. Luffy was curious about Zeph's background and origins. Sanji told him that Zeph was once the captain of Chef Pirates. He was known as Red Boot Zeph because he killed people with his kicks, leaving his boots stained with blood. 9 years ago in the Grand Line's East Blue, Sanji was working as an apprentice chef on the passenger ship Orbit. They were attacked by Zeph's pirate crew, and Sanji hid in the shadows with a knife in hand. Zeph, on the other hand, broke into the ship's kitchen and tasted the soup on the table without thinking. Finding it unsatisfactory, he wanted to season it again, but little Sanji emerged to resist. He would not let anyone taint his food. Sanji shouted that he would find the All Blue and become the greatest chef there. Zeph was deeply moved by his words. Suddenly, a massive wave surged from the sea. Zeph risked his life to save Sanji, and both were washed onto a reef, with only 2 bags of dry rations. They waited desperately for a passing ship. They each guarded one end, not letting go of any thread of hope. 70 days passed in the blink of an eye. Even though Sanji tried to save their food, it eventually ran out. He picked up a knife intending to take Zeph's food by force. To his surprise, the bag contained only gold and silver treasures. It turned out that the food that washed onto the reef was just 1 bag. Zeph had given all of it to Sanji. He ate his own right leg to satisfy his hunger. Sanji didn't understand why Zeph saved him. In fact, Zeph was also searching for the legendary All Blue. Being old, he had lost hope of finding it himself. So Zeph wanted to save Sanji's life and let him fulfill his own dream. Later, Sanji followed Zeph and they opened a seafaring restaurant together. They wanted to alleviate the suffering of hunger for everyone. Monkey D. Luffy thought that if it meant saving Roronoa Zoro, he would be willing to eat both his legs. Meanwhile, Arlong and his crew barged into the restaurant causing trouble. He demanded that Zeph hand over the Straw Hat Pirates. Upon hearing this, Nami quickly informed Monkey D. Luffy Arlong was not an ordinary pirate. Nami wanted to persuade Monkey D. Luffy to escape, but Monkey D. Luffy was determined to protect the restaurant. After all, he had eaten so many meals there, and Captain also saved Roronoa Zoro. Monkey D. Luffy confronted Arlong in the hall, and asked him how he found them. Arlong's subordinates brought out Buggy's head. It turned out that this guy had hidden his ears on Monkey D. Luffy. As the pirates refused to hand over the map, Arlong prepared to fight. Unexpectedly, Zeph's hidden gun hit him. The pirates rushed forward seeing their captain ambushed, and knocked down Zeph. Sanji rushed forward to protect his master. His kicking techniques were inherited from Zeph, and were quite formidable. However, Arlong's subordinates were all merfolk, with physical abilities far surpassing humans. Monkey D. Luffy immediately threw punches to support Sanji. As a result, Arlong caught his hands, and threw him out of the seafaring restaurant. It seemed that this battle wouldn't be easy. Monkey D. Luffy was tossed around like a ball, and just as Arlong was about to bite his neck, Nami suddenly appeared with the map, and she had a tattoo of Arlong's pirate crew on her arm. Remember when Nami wanted to send a signal to the mysterious person? In fact, she was contacting Arlong. Nami approached Monkey D. Luffy to snatch the nautical chart, and now that she had the map, Arlong pushed Monkey D. Luffy into the sea, preparing to leave with Nami. Monkey D. Luffy couldn't swim, and before he could struggle, he sank into the deep sea. Luckily, Sanji promptly rescued him and pulled him ashore. Monkey D. Luffy didn't believe Nami was a bad person. He went to find Roronoa Zoro, hoping that his companion would wake up soon. Perhaps Roronoa Zoro sensed Monkey D. Luffy's wish, and miraculously, he regained consciousness. Monkey D. Luffy told Roronoa Zoro about Nami's situation, and he was unwilling to abandon their comrade. Deciding to retrieve Nami, Roronoa Zoro and Usopp agreed with this plan, and the three of them set off fully prepared. After the recent battle, Zeph instructed Sanji to leave with Monkey D. Luffy, as he would never find the All Blue if he stayed at the seafaring restaurant. The three of them headed towards Nami's location. Zeph watched Sanji leave, his gaze following him, and Monkey D. Luffy also took Buggy's head along with him, since they needed his guidance to find Arlong. The group quickly arrived at the Comy Islands. Nami was playing cards with the pirates, and to understand her connection with Arlong, we have to go back 8 years. Nami's hometown was in the village of Kokoyasi. Her family of 3 was somewhat peculiar, as Nami had no blood relation to her mother and sister. Bonnie was a marine officer, who, by chance, discovered the 2 girls, and raised them on her own. There, Nami had cherished memories of her childhood. From a young age, Nami had the ability to draw maps, and dreamt of one day drawing a map of the world. Later, the village was invaded by the Dragon Pirates, and they killed Nami's mother. Young Nami was determined to protect the other villagers. She found Arlong on her own, and showcased her extraordinary drawing skills. Nami requested to join the Dragon Pirates as a mapmaker, and as compensation, Arlong had to allow her to buy back the village, and grant her own freedom. That's how 8-year-old Nami became a pirate, determined to earn 100 million Baratie, but no one knew the truth behind it all, and they all believed Nami was a greedy person. Arlong occupied many villages around the East Blue, and collected tribute every few days. However, Kokoyasi village couldn't pay. Arlong ordered Nami to go and collect the money, knowing that the villagers saw her as a traitor. So, he intentionally made things difficult for Nami. At the same time, Monkey D. Luffy and the others had already arrived at Kokoyasi village, only to see Nami collecting money as they entered the village. Monkey D. Luffy didn't believe she was that kind of person, so he couldn't help but ask Nami if she had any difficulties. Nami, of course, refused to reveal the truth. The two of them ended up arguing and parting ways. However, Monkey D. Luffy didn't give up. He sought information from the locals, and learned that Nami's sister, Nojiko, lived in the Orange Grove. The 4 of them immediately found Nojiko, and used Sanji's delicious cooking as a reward. They successfully obtained information, and Monkey D. Luffy became furious upon learning about Arlong's atrocities. He couldn't understand how Nami could side with her mother's killer, but he didn't intend to get the information from someone else's mouth. Monkey D. Luffy insisted on hearing Nami's explanation personally. Meanwhile, Nami carried the tribute money back to complete her task. Coincidentally, she encountered Colonel Mouse, a local marine. Although he was part of the marine force, he often took bribes from Arlong. They colluded together to oppress the people. Of course, Colonel Mouse couldn't eliminate Arlong, as Arlong could easily dispose of him with a simple command. After both parties finished their business negotiations, Nami suggested discussing their own deal. After 8 years of saving, she had finally accumulated 100 million Baratie, which could buy back the freedom of Kokoyasi village. Arlong instructed her to bring the money before sunrise, but as soon as Nami left, he immediately called back Colonel Mouse, and ordered him to rob Nami of the money she had saved. On the other side, Garp's men arrived at the Baratie. He and Zeph were old acquaintances, so he didn't use force to extract information about Monkey D. Luffy's whereabouts. Zeph refused to reveal the Straw Hat crew's location, and even told Garp that his grandson resembled Goldie Roger. At that moment, Coby rushed in to report that he had obtained the location of the Straw Hat Pirates from a talkative bartender. Upon hearing this, Garp left with his marines. Nami arrived at her mother's grave. She had hidden the 100 million Baratie in this location, but halfway through digging, Nojiko appeared, mistakenly thinking that Nami was disrespecting their mother's grave on purpose. Nojiko immediately tried to attack Nami without hesitation. In desperation, Nami had no choice but to confess. Nojiko finally realized that her sister hadn't betrayed everyone. The sisters had a rare heartwarming moment. Yet, Colonel Mouse's men suddenly appeared. They claimed that all the money Nami had saved was stolen goods, and confiscated all of Nami's savings. Colonel Mouse didn't even bother to look at the money in the box, as he knew there were 100 million in the box. So Nami deduced that he was acting on Arlong's orders. 8 years of hard work went down the drain, and Nami finally realized how ridiculous it was to cooperate with Arlong. She slashed her pirate tattoo in frustration, and her emotions spiraled towards the edge of collapse. Fortunately, Monkey D. Luffy appeared in time, and stopped her self-destructive behavior. Nami no longer insisted on her own way, and pleaded with Monkey D. Luffy to save the villagers. Thus, the main characters reunited once again. But in the distance, the village burst into flames. Surprisingly, Arlong set fire to the village. The next day, everyone gathered at the village entrance, and they learned about Nami's hardships, hoping to help her defeat Arlong. Since they had lost their homes, they decided it was better to fight for their freedom and risk their lives. Meanwhile, Garp also arrived at the island's coast, and Colonel Mouse hurriedly went to report to his superior. He intentionally ignored Arlong's actions, and instead pinned all the crimes of oppressing the villagers on the Straw Hat Pirates. Coby doesn't believe that Monkey D. Luffy is that kind of person. Coby stood up to refute. Colonel Mouse scolded him in return. Meanwhile, Monkey D. Luffy led the Straw Hat crew to charge into the enemy camp. Nami said that Arlong was in the nautical chart room, and in order to enter, they had to defeat these merfolk. Roronoa, Zoro and the others were responsible for engaging them, while Monkey D. Luffy and Nami would enter the nautical chart room to retrieve the map. Soon after they entered, they encountered Arlong. In fact, Arlong wasn't a straightforward villain. The merfolk had always been subjected to abuse and enslavement by humans. From their perspective, Arlong was a hero leading a rebellion. Now Monkey D. Luffy and Arlong were facing each other, and a great battle was inevitable. He instructed Nami to take the map and leave, while outside the nautical chart room, a fierce battle was taking place. Usopp was being chased into the forest by a kissing merfolk, whose protruding lips resembled a Remo raid. It could spew out large amounts of water to attack enemies. Usopp knew he couldn't confront it head-on, so he used his cunning tricks to outsmart and confuse his opponent. The kissing merfolk fell into Usopp's trap, and suffered a miserable defeat. Meanwhile, Roronoa, Zoro and Sanji were surrounded by a large group of merfolk. The two of them decided to release Buggy's head, and have him combine with his body to help them, but Buggy was too cunning, and as soon as he regained his freedom, he slipped away. At that moment, Kurubi, the merfolk who had tied up Double Bun, suddenly emerged and charged towards Sanji. Roronoa, Zoro hurried over to help. The two of them joined forces to fight against Kurubi. After a fierce battle, Sanji kicked Kurubi away. Meanwhile, Monkey D. Luffy realized he couldn't defeat Arlong, so he decided to destroy the entire nautical chart room, ruining everything Arlong had carefully built. Arlong was infuriated and accidentally smashed a load-bearing pillar, causing the building to collapse. Monkey D. Luffy had to finish the fight quickly. Now the building was even more severely damaged. Monkey D. Luffy lifted his leg and pierced through the roof, then stomped on Arlong. The building was instantly pierced through from top to bottom and collapsed. Nami and the others watched as the tall building turned into ruins, and the four of them anxiously stared ahead. Fortunately, Monkey D. Luffy emerged safely. In the evening, the villagers gathered together to celebrate. Unexpectedly, Garp and his men entered the village. He immediately ordered his subordinates to arrest the Straw Hat Pirates. Coby gathered his courage to refute the Vice Admiral. The one who harmed the village was Arlong, and although Monkey D. Luffy is a pirate, he hasn't done anything wrong. Helmeppo was well taken care of by Coby during the journey, and bravely stood up to support him. Garp didn't engage with the two of them. He took off his cloak and intended to have a fight with his grandson. Despite not having a devil fruit ability, he excelled in martial arts and had extensive experience. The current Monkey D. Luffy is far from being a match for his grandfather. Of course, Garp didn't want to harm his grandson. He just wanted to test Monkey D. Luffy, to see if he was truly prepared. And Monkey D. Luffy, in his current state, looked exactly like Gold Roger back in the day. Garp knew his grandson would definitely succeed, so he let go of Monkey D. Luffy, and ordered his subordinates to arrest the Dragon Pirates. Colonel Mouse couldn't understand why Garp let them go, and wanted to rush out to stop them, but was knocked unconscious by Nami with a swing of her staff. Before leaving, Garp instructed his grandson that he would have to rely on himself from now on. Little did he know, Monkey D. Luffy smiled and retorted that he had a group of trusted friends by his side. Garp, the old man, left with peace of mind, and the adventure in Kokoyasi village was coming to an end. Coby found Monkey D. Luffy, and handed him a wanted poster. Monkey D. Luffy's first wish finally came true, and he was now on the pirate bounty list, with a bounty of 30 million Baratie. Coby bid farewell to Monkey D. Luffy, and returned to the ship to face punishment. After all, he had defied the orders of the Marines. However, Garp didn't punish Coby and Helmeppo, and he intended to personally train them, to make them excellent Marines. Nami changed her tattoo to an orange windmill. As a tribute to her deceased mother, she bid farewell to her sister and set off on her journey once again. The protagonist group set off towards the Grand Line. At this time, the wanted posters of the Straw Hat Pirates spread throughout the land. Some people were delighted by their success, while others set their sights on this rising star. Even Shanks saw Monkey D. Luffy's poster, and he knew that everything was just the beginning. Monkey D. Luffy would definitely lead his crew to fulfill all their dreams. This season comes to an end. Adapting the manga into live action is quite challenging, but the live action version, with limited screen time, showed the personalities and abilities of several characters well. Characters like the clown Buggy were portrayed accurately. Overall, there weren't too many outrageous plot changes or adaptations. In conclusion, it's worth watching.